Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight from the heart. Life will test you in ways you never saw coming. People will doubt you, criticize you, and sometimes even laugh at you. But I need you to understand this. Your greatest power lies in your ability to focus on yourself, stay consistent, and shock every single person who ever underestimates you. Too many of us waste precious energy worrying about what other people think. You can't live your life trying to satisfy the crowd because the crowd didn't give you your dream and the crowd can't take it away. God gave that dream to you, and it's your responsibility to protect it, nurture it, and fight for it with everything you got. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by telling you something that changed the way I see life. You cannot pour into anybody else's cup if yours is empty. See, we live in a world where people are constantly demanding pieces of us, our time, our attention, our energy, our resources. Everybody wants something, but very few people stop to ask if you're okay, if you've got enough left for yourself, if your tank is full. And too often we give and give until we run it on fumes, until we stretch so thin we don't even recognize who we are anymore. You can't keep giving from an empty place because eventually you'll break down. And when you break down, the very people you've been trying to help won't be able to save you because you neglected yourself in the process of trying to please them. Now, I need you to understand the difference between selfishness and self-prioritization. Selfishness says, I don't care about anybody but me. But self-prioritization says, I can't show up for you unless I first shown up for me. You can't be a good parent if you drain every day. You can't be a good spouse if you've lost yourself in the process of giving. You can't be an effective leader if you burnt out, and you certainly can chase your God-given dream if you run it on empty. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it's survival. Think about it like this. When you get on an airplane, the safety instructions always say, put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. That's not just some airline procedure. That's a life principle. If you can't breathe, you can't save anybody else. But in life, so many of us try to put the mask on everybody else while we suffocate. We want to save our friends, rescue our family, support our coworkers, and be everything to everyone. But deep down, we can't even breathe. And that's why so many people are stressed, depressed, and overwhelmed, because they haven't learned the power of filling their own cup first. Let me tell you something else. When your cup is full, you give differently. When you're full of joy, you spread joy naturally. When you're full of peace, you bring peace wherever you go. When you're full of confidence, you inspire others to believe in themselves. But when you're empty, everything you give is contaminated by that emptiness. You start giving resentment instead of love, frustration instead of patience, weariness instead of strength. That's why the best gift you can give to the people around you is a healthy, whole, and focused version of yourself. I know what some of y'all are thinking. You've been raised to believe that putting yourself first is wrong, that you're supposed to sacrifice everything for the people you love. And sacrifice is a part of life, no doubt about it. But hear me. Sacrifice without boundaries leads to self-destruction. You can't keep draining yourself and expect to last. The strongest people in the world are the ones who know when to say yes and when to say no. They know when to give and when to rest. They know that their vision and their purpose matter just as much as anybody else's. So if you want to shock everybody, start by shocking yourself. Shock yourself by finally saying, I matter too. Shock yourself by waking up early and investing that time into your health, your mindset, your relationship with God. Shock yourself by refusing to carry everybody else's baggage while neglecting your own healing. When you focus on yourself first, it doesn't mean you're abandoning people. It means you're positioning yourself to be the best version of you so that when you do give, you give from overflow instead of lack. Here's the truth. You can't keep running a car without gas. You can't keep operating a phone without charging it. So why do you think you can keep running your life without filling yourself up? You need rest. You need prayer. You need clarity. You need time alone. You need space to dream. You need to remind yourself that you deserve the same care, love, and attention you've been pouring into everybody else. Stop waiting for somebody else to come refill your cup. It's your job to protect your peace and prioritize your well-being. And let me tell you this, when you finally make that shift, when you finally say, I'm going to focus on me, I'm going to fill my own cup, I'm going to put on my oxygen mask first, watch how your life changes. Watch how you show up with more energy, more purpose, and more strength. Watch how people start respecting you differently because you respect yourself. Watch how you move differently because you're no longer drained. You're overflowing. And when you're overflowing, you don't just give to others, you inspire them. You don't just help people, you lift them. You don't just show up, you shock them. Because a person who is whole, grounded, and focused is unstoppable. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be real with you right now. Distractions are dream killers. They don't just delay your progress, they destroy it. Some of you are not behind in life because you lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. You're behind because you keep allowing distractions to rob you of your focus. Distractions come in all shapes and sizes. Some look like friends, some look like entertainment, some even look like opportunities. But at the end of the day, anything that pulls you away from your purpose is costing your future. Every minute you give to the wrong thing is a minute stolen from the right thing. And you don't get that time back. Think about how easy it is to waste hours scrolling through your phone, chasing gossip, comparing yourself to people online who don't even know you exist. That's not harmless, it's a distraction. That's time you could have spent learning, building, creating, exercising, praying, strategizing, or working on your craft. You keep saying you don't have time, but the truth is you do. You're just giving it to the wrong thing. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't learn to manage your focus, the world will manage it for you. And they will keep you busy with nothing. Busyness doesn't equal progress. You can run all day in circles and never move an inch closer to your dream. And it's not just social media or television. Sometimes the biggest distractions come disguised as people. There are folks in your life who love to keep you in drama, who always have a new story, a new complaint, a new argument. And you sit there wasting energy trying to solve their problems, trying to fight battles that don't even belong to you. You've got to ask yourself, am I spending my life putting out other people's fires while my own house is burning down? Because if you are, that's a distraction. Some people are not bad, but they are not going in the same direction as you. And if you don't learn to create boundaries, you'll get dragged into their chaos instead of building your peace. Let me tell you something powerful I've learned. Success doesn't belong to the most talented person. It belongs to the most focused person. You can have average talent, average intelligence, average resources. But if you cut out distractions and focus relentlessly on your goal, you will pass people who are more gifted than you. Why? Because they're scattered and you're focused. They're chasing 10 things and you're mastering one. And the world rewards mastery, not mediocrity. The more you narrow your focus, the greater your results. The devil doesn't have to destroy you. He just has to distract you. That's why you've got to wake up every day and ask yourself, what is pulling me away from my purpose? What is eating up my time but adding no value? What am I entertaining that doesn't serve where I'm going? Because if you don't confront those questions, you'll wake up 5, 10 years later realizing you've been busy but not productive, active but not effective, alive but not really living your purpose. And that's one of the greatest tragedies of life. to have potential, but waste it on distractions. Now, cutting out distractions isn't easy. It requires discipline. And discipline isn't comfortable. It means saying no to some things you enjoy. It means stepping back from some people you care about. It means shutting down the noise so you can finally hear your own voice and God's direction for your life. You've got to be bold enough to protect your focus, even if people don't understand. They might call you distant. They might call you arrogant. They might say you changed. And you have, because you can't stay the same and step into a bigger version of yourself. And here's the beauty of it. Once you cut out distractions, you create space. And in that space, clarity shows up. Energy shows up. Creativity shows up. Vision shows up. Suddenly, you start making progress like never before. You start seeing results that shock you. Because for the first time in your life, you're not splitting your energy into 100 directions. You're pouring it into the one thing that matters. And when you give your best self to your best purpose, the world can't ignore you. You will shock everybody who thought you were wasting your life, because while they were distracted, you were building. While they were playing, you were working. While they were talking, you were creating. And one day, they'll see the difference. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something very clear tonight. Success requires sacrifice. You can pray for it. You can dream about it. You can talk about it. But if you're not willing to give up something to get it, it will never happen. Success is expensive, and the currency is sacrifice. The price of success is always paid up front, never later, never on credit. You don't get to live easy now and expect greatness tomorrow. You pay today, you grind today, you stretch today, so that one day you can live the life you've been dreaming of. Too many people want success, but they don't want the price tag that comes with it. They want comfort and greatness at the same time, but those two don't live in the same neighborhood. If you want comfort, stay where you are. If you want greatness, be ready to give up sleep, give up excuses, give up some fun, give up some relationships, and sometimes even give up your old identity. Because you can't step into the new you while holding on to everything from the old you. You got to make a choice. And let me tell you, if you're serious about success, that choice will never be easy, but it will always be worth it. Think about the athletes you admire. You see them winning championships, holding trophies, signing big contracts. But you don't see the 5 a.m. workouts, the diets they hate, the days when their bodies are aching, but they keep pushing. You look at an entrepreneur making millions and you think they're lucky, but you don't see the years they went without vacations, the nights they stayed up building when everybody else was asleep, the rejections they had to swallow before one yes changed their life. Behind every success story is a sacrifice story. And if you skip the sacrifice, you don't get the success. Here's where a lot of people get it wrong. They think sacrifice is loss. They think if I give this up, I'm losing something. No, you're not losing. You're investing. When you sacrifice your time to work on your dream, you're not losing time. You're buying a future. When you sacrifice bad habits, you're not losing pleasure. You're gaining discipline. When you sacrifice toxic people, you're not losing friends, you're gaining peace and progress. Sacrifice is the seed you plant today to reap the harvest tomorrow. But if you never plant, you'll never eat. Understand this. People will not understand your sacrifice. They will laugh at you when you don't go out to every party. They'll mock you when you're reading, studying, hustling, instead of wasting time. They'll say you're doing too much, that you've changed. And the truth is, you have. Because greatness demands that you change. You can't stay average and become extraordinary. You can't keep doing what everyone else is doing and expect to shock the world. If you're doing what they're doing, you'll get what they get. If you want something different, you have to be willing to live different. But here's the thing. Sacrifice is temporary, while success is lasting. Missing out now is not the end of the world. You might miss some parties, but you'll own the building those parties are hosted in later. You might miss some sleep, but one day you'll wake up in a house you never thought you could afford. You might lose some friends, but you'll gain peace of mind and the respect of people who value your journey. Sacrifice feels heavy in the moment, but it builds a foundation that will carry you further than you ever imagined. Let me put it this way. If you want to shock everyone, you've got to be willing to disappear for a season. You've got to be willing to grind in silence, to sacrifice comfort while nobody is watching, so that one day you can shine in a way nobody saw coming. Everybody wants the glory, but few want the grind. Everybody wants the applause, but few want the silence. Everybody wants the destination, but few want the sacrifice of the journey. But the ones who choose sacrifice, the ones who pay the price, those are the ones who shock the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear me loud and clear. Stop wasting your energy trying to convince people of your worth with words. Stop trying to argue with doubters. Stop trying to prove your value in conversations, and stop explaining your dreams to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't owe anybody an explanation for your calling. You don't need a fight to make them believe in you. Let your results do the talking, because when you produce results, results silence everything. People can debate your opinion, they can dismiss your words, they can laugh at your dreams, but they cannot deny results. Results make the loudest noise without ever speaking a word. Some of y'all are wasting too much precious time clapping back at haters, trying to convince people you're serious. Why are you arguing when you could be building? Why are you defending yourself when you could be developing yourself? See, when you're constantly trying to prove something with your mouth, you're draining the very energy you need to prove it with your life. Every minute you argue with somebody about whether you're capable is a minute stolen from the work that will show them you are. You don't have to talk about it. Just do it. The truth is, results are undeniable evidence. You don't have to shout, "I'm successful." Success shows itself. You don't have to tell people, "I've grown." Growth becomes obvious. You don't need to scream, "I'm strong." Strength shows up in how you move through life. People believe what they see, not what they hear. That's why the greatest response to negativity, to doubt, to criticism is quiet progress. While they busy talking, you stay busy working. While they making noise, you make moves. And when the results come, the same people who laughed will be forced to respect what they see standing in front of them. You ever notice how nobody argues with the person holding the trophy? Nobody debates with the person at the top of the mountain? Why? Because results speak a language that everybody understands. Success doesn't need translation. It doesn't need a sales pitch. It's visible, it's real, and it speaks for itself. That's why you've got to shift your mindset from proving yourself with words to proving yourself with results. Because at the end of the day, people might forget what you said, but they will never forget what you built, what you accomplished, and what you overcame. Now, I know it's hard to stay quiet when people doubt you. I know it stings when somebody tells you you're not good enough, when they say you'll never make it, when they laugh at your dream. But hear me, you don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't need to chase validation. Silence is powerful when you work in the background. Use that doubt as fuel. Let it push you harder. Let it remind you that when you come back, you're not coming back to talk. You're coming back to shock them with results they can't ignore. And here's something else. When you let your results speak, you build credibility that no one can take from you. Words can be twisted. Opinions can change. But results are facts. Nobody can take away what you've achieved, what you've built, or what you've overcome. That becomes your evidence, your testimony, your receipt that you did the work You stay focused and you turn doubt into destiny. And those results, they don't just silence haters, they inspire believers. Somebody is watching you, waiting to see if your dream is real. And when they see your results, they're going to believe not only in you, but in themselves too. So stop telling people what you're going to do. Stop announcing your plans to the world before you put in the work. Don't promise, produce. Don't declare, deliver. Don't speak it, show it. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. It's the one who doesn't have to say a word because their life, their results, their progress says everything. And if you want to shock everyone, that's the secret. Close your mouth, open your grind, and let your results do all the talking. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something a lot of people don't want to hear. The journey to success is lonely. That's the part they don't put on the highlight reels. That's the part people don't post about. That's the part folks don't brag about. But it's the truth. If you are truly committed to chasing greatness, you are going to walk through seasons where it feels like nobody understands you, nobody supports you, and sometimes it even feels like nobody is with you. But I want you to understand this. Loneliness is not punishment. Loneliness is preparation. It's in the lonely places that you grow the most, because loneliness produces strength. See, everybody loves a celebration, but nobody sees the isolation. When you make up your mind to focus on yourself and build your dream, you're going to lose company. You're going to stop fitting in with the crowd you used to run with. You're going to have nights where it's just you and your thoughts. Mornings where you wake up and wonder if you're crazy for even trying. Days where you feel like giving up because nobody seems to believe in you. But that's where the strength is built. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Steel is forged in fire. And greatness is built in solitude. You can't develop strength in comfort. And you can't develop focus in a crowd. Sometimes God pulls you away from people so he can pull the best out of you. Thought about it. When you're alone, that's when discipline shows up. That's when you start realizing what you're capable of. That's when you hear God's voice clear because the noise is gone. Loneliness forces you to face yourself, to confront your weaknesses, to sharpen your skills, to build resilience. And when you step back into the world, you come back stronger, wiser, and more focused than you were before. The loneliness is not meant to break you. It's meant to build you. Now, here's the thing. Most people run from loneliness because they confuse it with emptiness. But loneliness is not emptiness. It's space. It's space for you to create, to heal, to prepare, to grow. And that space is sacred. That space is where you become who you need to be. Everybody wants to shine in public, but very few are willing to grind in private. Everybody wants the applause, but very few want the silence. But it's in the silence that champions are made. You don't shock the world by blending into the crowd. You shock the world by disappearing into the work, then reappearing as a version of yourself they've never seen before. You got to understand, not everybody is meant to walk the full journey with you. Some people are only with you for a season, some for a chapter, some just for a moment. And when they fall away, it hurts, but it's necessary. Because the higher you climb, the fewer people can go with you. Not everybody is built for the altitude you're heading to. And if you try to drag everybody with you, you'll either slow yourself down or lose your focus entirely. So instead of resenting the loneliness, embrace it. Because the loneliness is a sign you're separating yourself from average and moving into greatness. And let me tell you something. When you've been through the lonely seasons and survived them, you come out with a strength nobody can take from you. You stop depending on validation. You stop craving approval. You stop living for the crowd because you've learned how to stand on your own 2 feet. That's power. That's freedom. That's what makes you unstoppable. Because when you no longer fear being alone, nothing can control you. When you're strong enough to walk by yourself, then you're ready to lead others. So don't curse the lonely nights. Don't resent the quiet mornings. Don't fight the silence. That's where your transformation is happening. That's where your strength is being built. That's where you're becoming the person who can handle the success you're chasing. The journey is lonely, but the loneliness is building the strength you're going to need when the world finally sees you shine. And when they do, they won't understand what kept you going. But you will, because you'll know that the loneliness didn't break you. It made you. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to lock this into your spirit. Your focus today will be your freedom tomorrow. Every choice you make right now, every sacrifice, every decision, every ounce of discipline, it's not just about today. It's building your tomorrow. Too many people live like today is all that matters. They chase comfort, they chase distractions, they chase instant gratification. But when tomorrow comes, they're broke, they're tired, and they're stuck because they didn't make the investments today that would have freed them tomorrow. Focus is not about denying yourself joy. It's about delaying it so that when it shows up, it's permanent and not temporary. The reason so many people stay stuck is because they never learn how to focus on the long game. They want the quick win, the quick thrill, the quick dollar, but quick doesn't last. Quick will give you a moment, but focus will give you a lifetime. When you focus today on your craft, on your goals, on your health, on your finances, you are building a version of yourself that doesn't have to keep struggling tomorrow. You are stacking bricks that will become a foundation. You are planting seeds that will become a harvest. And one day you will wake up free because you had the discipline to stay focused while everybody else was distracted. Think about it like this. Freedom is expensive, but the cost isn't money. It's focus. Freedom from financial stress comes from the focus of budgeting, saving, investing, and building today. Freedom from poor health comes from the focus of taking care of your body, exercising, eating right today. Freedom from regret comes from the focus of making wise choices and staying true to your vision today. If you want a better tomorrow, you got to start sharpening your focus right now. Here's the truth. Life will always test your focus. Distractions will always come knocking. Opportunities that look good but aren't good for you will always present themselves. And people will always try to pull you in 100 directions. But your focus is your filter. It's how you decide what gets your attention and what doesn't. If it doesn't serve your future, it doesn't deserve your focus. And the more disciplined you are about that, the freer you'll be down the line. Because freedom is really about options. And options come from preparation. When you've put in the focus today, tomorrow you don't have to beg. You don't have to settle. You don't have to compromise. You get to choose. And let me tell you something powerful. Focus compound. The little things you do daily may not look like much at first. Reading for an hour a day, saving a little money, practicing your skill, waking up early, praying consistently. Those things don't look like they're changing your life in the moment. But focus isn't about the moment. It's about momentum. And once momentum builds, it becomes unstoppable. That's when you start seeing doors open, opportunities show up, and freedom become real. People will call it luck, but it wasn't luck. It was focus. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they're not consistent. They get excited for a week, motivated for a month, then distracted for a year. But the people who stay focused, who keep showing up even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when nobody is watching, those are the ones who win. And when they win, they don't just win for themselves, they win for generations. Because the focus you show today doesn't just set you free, it sets your family free. It sets your children free. It says everybody connected to you free. That's the power of disciplined focus. So don't let anybody tell you your focus is too much. Don't let anybody convince you to slow down, to relax, to stop working on yourself. They don't see what you see. They don't understand what you're building. They don't know the freedom you're chasing. One day they'll look at your life and wonder how you did it. And you know the truth. You did it because while they were playing, you were focused. While they were wasting time, you were investing it. While they were chasing attention, you were chasing purpose. And now you're free because your focus yesterday built your freedom today.